Ulysses, Oracle of the Dead, a gateway to hidden knowledge. Of course, the Greeks call Ulysses Odysseus. Homer's Odyssey is perhaps the first great travelogue. While it is certainly filled with fantastical creatures, monsters, and gods, it's also entirely possible to track the course of Homer's hero as he spends 10 years returning home, traversing much of the ancient Mediterranean as he does so. Some of the lengthy journey is certainly the fault of Ulysses himself. He probably did not need to spend 7 years on Calypso's island, for example. However, much of the journey can be parsed as a representation of the dangers, mysteries, and hidden secrets of the wine-dark sea. Nowhere is this more apparent than with Ulysses' interactions with the Oracle of the Dead, unlikely to be Homer's creation, but nevertheless first appearing in this Greek epic. It comes from the island of Circe. Among Ulysses' first encounters, she's the one that enticed him, that magician. Among Ulysses' first encounters, but saved as a tale until books 9 and 10. Ulysses tells about how the hero, Odysseus, tells about how the hero was told by Circe to contact the dead for directions on his future. And in the story, Homer sends Ulysses to an entryway of the underworld to talk to the dead and so understand his future. On reaching the entryway, the hero is plagued by visions of Hades while talking to the spirit of a dead oracle, but it is the knowledge that he receives which ultimately allows him to free himself from his torments and return to his homeland. But it is in the representation of the underworld that something different that we may gain as insight into the world of Homer. The Mediterranean is filled with temptations, dangers, and fantastic creatures. Circe, for all her powers, is just another of these, and is ruled by God. Your travel around the sea is entirely at the mercy of Poseidon, and much of the Odyssey sees this god punishing the central figure. Against this, the advice offered by the dead prophet is something never seen elsewhere in the entirety of the poem, a way to overcome Poseidon's curse. Does the underworld offer knowledge of how to defend a god, to defeat a god? A real place? The site where Ulysses tried to talk to the Oracle of the Dead is on top of a hill located at the confluence of 3 rivers, Acheron, Piri, Phlegethon, and Cocytus. The site still stands, although in ruins. The mysterious cave and the ruins which surround it was discovered by Greek archaeologist Sotiris Dakaris in 1958. The ruins have been dated, and their history goes back to the 2nd or 3rd century BC. The ruins are built in the subterranean region, in the area of 72 square feet and walls that are at least 11 feet thick. The subterranean structure of the cave is proof of the ancient Greek belief that the souls of the dead entered the mortal realm through subterranean fissures that lead to the underworld. In ancient Greece, there were many such structures that let the living talk to the dead, sometimes to allow the dead to visit with the living, and sometimes to reveal their future. The stories of Ulysses is also focused on such an incident where the hero goes to the cave to find the soul of Tiresias to know more about his future. And the hero was instructed in this forbidden rite by Circe, who told him to go to a cave and dig a shallow pit. Once the pit was dug, the hero was instructed to pour libations into the pit to appease the dead. After he poured the liquids, he prayed to Hades and the dead souls. After praying, Ulysses sacrificed an all-black ram and let the blood pour into the pit for the soul of Tiresias. Already we see the difficulty of the rite. Although he poured the ram's blood for the soul of Tiresias, there were other souls in the pit that were also thirsty for blood. Different souls drank blood and through this gained the power of speech and recognition. Before Tiresias spoke to Ulysses, the spirit of Elpenor was first to the trough to speak to Ulysses. And the spirit of Elpenor was a comrade of Ulysses, was a comrade of Ulysses and told him to secure a burial for his dead body. Did all this or something like this happen at the ruins discovered by archaeologist Sakiris? Other accounts? The first mention of the Oracle of the Dead happens in the Odyssey, but its mention in literature and in the later works of Herodotus show that oracles and oracles of the dead were very popular in ancient Greece. These later accounts establish that the dead must be bargained with. Even in Herodotus, when a husband goes to speak to the spirit of his dead wife to know about the location of a treasure, she refuses to tell the location until her last wish and inconvenience in the underworld is resolved. The dead wife would tell the oracle of her grievances, for example, that her husband did not burn any clothes for her during the burial. So the husband burnt a lot of clothes for the spirit so that she would not feel cold in the underworld. There might have been many oracles of the dead similar to the ruined cave that was discovered in the 1950s. Visitors would have entered these subterranean chambers and conducted some specific rituals to raise dead spirits from the underworld. These rituals would protect the living from vengeful spirits and help them communicate with the oracle of the dead. These rituals would sometimes take days to complete. The caves would have deeper chambers for animal sacrifices. These chambers would signify the three gates of the underworld protected by Hades. These darker chambers would be lit by torches, and in these flickering lights a person would see the ghostly shadows of the dead. But it was not enough to come to these chambers unprepared. The visitor needed to eat certain foodstuffs. The priest of the Oracle of the Dead would ask him to go on a special diet during ritual days before they go to the inner chambers for an oracle consultation. While people of that time saw these as rituals, today research shows that the diet would include natural hallucinogens. Under the effect of these hallucinogens, the pilgrim would see the spirit of one he wants to see in his mind. Such behaviors can be found in multiple unconnected religions and cultures, from Chavin de Huantor in Peru to the shamanic poisons of the Caribbean and the Amazon. The truth? Archaeologists in such caves and oracle chambers have discovered hidden devices that would enhance the appearance of animated spirits and apparitions. Once an inanimate was introduced to the chamber, almost always high as a kite, they would encounter strange echoes, noises, and lights which would leave them convinced that they had met with the dead. Were such oracles merely charlatans who took advantage of people's grief and curiosity to create belief and faith? The traditional insistence by the keepers of the Oracle of the Dead that visitors not reveal what they learned in the cave certainly adds to the suspicion. The forecast was said to come from Hades, and the secrecy would protect their lives from ultimate death and the wrath of Hades. But there was not only one such oracle. In the ancient Greek world, there were 4. Apart from Acheron, the oracles of the dead lived in Campania Mani and Heraclea Pontica. One of those sites stands even today. What does this imply about communication between the oracles? There must have been a hidden cottage industry, a communications network hundreds of miles long, keeping the secrets of the oracles and spreading them only amongst those ready to receive this forbidden knowledge. The Oracle of the Dead tradition and tales were lost as Greece progressed and skepticism took hold. Today it's not known that the experiences of the Oracle of the Dead and their tales could have come from hallucinations or near-death experiences. But to the ancient Greeks and to Ulysses, the oracles were very real. This is by Bipin Dimri on Historic Mysteries. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. My Patreon account, the daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.